So far away Lucas and lovely audience at home, who is your favourite character from the Resident Evil franchise?
I've got lots of favourites, but how can it not just be Salazar? Like, Mr. Kennedy!
Alright, Lucas, right, give me your best Mr. Kennedy, and I'm going to give you my best Mr. Kennedy, and we're going to see who can do the better Mr. Kennedy!
I definitely think it goes to you. I'll give it another shot, but... Mr. Kennedy!
Like, I legit think I should have voiced Salazar in, like, RE4 Remake, because, like, the Mr. Kennedy, but...
Mr. Kennedy. Still alive, I see.
Such a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance, Mr. Kennedy. Who the hell are you?
Yes, today we're talking about the person that, Salazar's facing off against. Mr. Kennedy. What are you buying? So specifically on this episode of Wiki Weekends, a series where myself or my co-host Lucas Holland
Hello there.
will scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject we're interested in and go through it to find out what kind of conversation arises as a result. And today we're referring to the Capcom database and their entry on Mr. Leon S. Kennedy, or Mr. Kennedy. I think I'm getting more exaggerated every time, so I'm going to stop.
Mr. Kennedy. Welcome.
But the thing is, like, RE4, especially the original, like, even the remake leans into it a bit, but that is just a campy B-movie. Like, it is over-exaggerated.
Yeah, like Resident Evil 4 is a B-movie, and Resident Evil 5 is a B-movie that doesn't think it's a B-movie.
It's a B-movie that's, like, straying into Michael Bay territory.
You know what, Lucas? That's a much better comparison. Resident Evil 4 is an 80s B-movie. Resident Evil 5 is a Michael Bay movie.
More and more, I find myself wondering if it's all worth fighting for. For a future without fear? Yeah, it's worth it.
What the fuck is Resident Evil 6 then?
A bad Michael Bay movie. Well, for anyone unfamiliar with the character of Leon S. Kennedy, the wiki will help us all get on the same page. So, Leon Scott Kennedy, better known as Leon Kennedy, is one of the protagonists of the Resident Evil franchise. During the events of Resident Evil 2, he is a rookie police officer who arrives in Raccoon City for his first day. And that will always be one of the funniest fucking things about Resident Evil to me, that Leon Kennedy deals with the zombie apocalypse on his first day.
Yeah. Welcome, Leon. Bet you had a kick-ass first day.
Yeah, and I will say about Leon is that, like, both Leon and Chris, I'm kind of surprised what became, like, the kind of protagonists of the franchise, because when I played through, like, Resident Evil 2 Remake, I realised, oh, he was not interesting at all in this game.
He's also a complete dipshit. And if I'm correct, Lucas, isn't there, like, there's a few changes made to, like, the RE2 remake, like they put, like, the little, like, welcoming message for Leon in the station, right? Like, you go in, it's like, welcome Leon on the wall.
There's, like, I think it's, like, in a little bunting banner, right? And it's like, oh no, it's
But
all
it was his
there. And he's
first
got, like,
day.
He's got a little note on the desk of, like, here's the people you're going to be working with, and they're all fucking zombified already.
The thing is, though, right, that's a hell of a way to establish a legend, right? Because, like, the legend that Leon becomes in, like, the BSAA and just, like, the various government agencies he ends up working with to, like, combat the bioterrorist threat, they must know, like, this dude on his first day beat, like, 500 zombies. On his first day.
Technically, at this point, after all the different things he's been through, I think Leon Kennedy might be the most dangerous bioweapon of all.
Now, that's the thing. Is there anybody in, like, fiction who's had a worse first day on the job than Leon Kennedy?
Holy shit!
Not only zombie apocalypse, but almost getting nuked as well by the government.
I think the only person who's had a worse first day is the joke people make about RoboCop. Like, where Alex Murphy's, like, it's not his first day, but it's his first day on that new beat, and he dies, and he still gets made to come into work. Like, he dies on his first day, and he's still got to go into work the next day. That fucking sucks.
I'm sorry, you can't just casually say that he dies, because that's not the right terminology to use when you get blasted apart by 8 shotguns at once.
He got, just his entire world turned to shotgun, and OCP made him come in the next day. But
they'll fix you. They fixed everything.
He later confronts the T-virus outbreak and confirms its existence firsthand. 6 years later, in Resident Evil 4, he returns as a secret agent for the US government, assigned to protect the president's family. And again, it's like, okay, so why we got this Leon dude? Like, we've got the entire Secret Service at our disposal. Why do we need this Leon dude? It's like, he'd stop the zombie apocalypse on his first day. Have you any idea how many zombies aren't around because of Leon? It's like, how many are there? All of them, mostly. Right? Like, would you say that he's the most dangerous weapon they have? Like, I think if they'd have dropped him instead of the nuke, Raccoon City would have been fine. Like, if they get like 2 more days, Raccoon City would have still been alright.
Get down!
It's like, you know, like mild spoilers for the boys, but that moment where in like, I think it's like season 1 where they find out, oh shit, the baby's like injected with shit at birth to give him superpowers. I wouldn't be surprised if that had happened to Leon as a baby.
No, that's what, like, honest to God, like, I'm fully expecting, like, Leon's history to just say, like, Leon was born, he drove his mum home from the hospital. Dude just fucking prepared, wasn't he? But, you have some basic biographical information about Leon here. So his name, Leon Kennedy, or Mr. Kennedy. His birthday is 1977. His birthplace is fucking America. And his height is 5'10" tall.
Do we have to say it like, oh, fucking America now?
Yeah, I guess. The thing is, though, he's not as American as Krauser. And I love in the remake, they remove that line. It's like, no, you can't remove that line. It's one of the funniest fucking lines in all of RE4.
Oh, I needed her to buy Sadler's trust in me. Like you, I'm American.
Where just Krauser rips his shirt off and is like, I'm an American. It's like, yes, he is. Do you like that joke of like, be the American that Japan thinks you are? And it's like just like the montage of like All Might and Krauser and Guile and stuff. Like, be the America Japan thinks that you are. The things that he likes are Claire, Sherry, Ada. I don't think he likes Ada. I think he likes being mistreated by Ada. Like, Leon doesn't like Ada. He likes Ada stepping on his balls.
Lower it. FBI.
Sorry.
He really does. Just, God, talking about simping after a character.
Yeah. Chris and Helena, and he dislikes Albert, Wesker, and Derek. Like, who hates Wesker more? Is it Chris or is it Leon?
It's got to be Chris, because Leon barely interacts with Wesker.
But he doesn't like him, for what he stands for, like, all the shit that he does. Like, has there ever been a beef in gaming as, like, just one-sided as Chris versus Albert Wesker? Because Wesker, I think, there's a point in RE5 where Wesker doesn't know who Chris is. Like, do you know when they first meet? And, like, I bet Wesker doesn't know he has to be reminded. Like, wait, is that the dude who's, like, friend I threw out a fucking window?
Wesker, you are alive.
This is Wesker.
We last met at the Spencer estate, wasn't it?
Thing is, nobody recognised Chris in RE5 because he just doubled in size.
It's like, Chris, how many fridges did you eat before you came on this mission? He's like, yes, I ate all the fridges. Like, one of my favourite moments in RE5 is like the fact you can ask Sheva for items and just having Chris say, give me an egg. This man wants that protein.
I do think as well, everyone gave Chris and that character design shit for so long, and then that DLC came out where you had that one fight in the old mansion with Wesker, and saw Jill have to throw herself out the window, and everyone, yep, totally justified.
So if anyone's curious about what Lucas is alluding to there, it is suggested by the DLC and confirmed outright in the Resident Evil 5 art book that the reason that Chris Redfield just like jacks on like 100 fucking pounds of muscle and like eats 5 fridges a day worth of protein is because he just sees that Wesker's got superpowers. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to deal with that?
Yeah.
How like Wesker has superpowers? What the hell am I supposed to do? Better just like pack on the timber.
Like, he essentially gets buff out of just trauma because he thinks Jill's dead.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm never losing a partner again, so I'm just going to make sure I can fucking just lift like 19 £1,000 and punch like, you know, this. I'm gonna go up to Wesker and punch him in his fucking face.
Wesker!
And one of the details I love, I think we talked about in a previous episode, about RE5 specifically, is that Wesker straight up has fucking superpowers. Like, he's bulletproof, he can move like faster than the eye can see, he can catch cruise missiles out of the air and throw them at you. Chris Redfield, a mortal man who's just running on nothing but adrenaline and like 15 Africa eggs, can punch him with enough force to make Wesker grimace.
He can, and I'm fairly certain he just got buff via, like, that boulder must have just been his training bag, right?
Yeah, well, like, just, it's so stupid how buff Chris is. It's to the point where, like, the boulder scene is, like, the one that people highlight of, like, how stupid it is that Chris pushes the boulder. I think the fact he can punch Wesker and hurt him when Wesker's bulletproof. And, like, Sheva can hurt Wesker as well, but a great detail of, like, her combo on Wesker is that she exclusively aims for pressure points and, like, you know, like, the groin, the eyes, the neck and stuff like that. Chris just punched him in the fucking solar plexus. He's trying to win that, man. Like, he's chopping that fucking wood.
The same man that only got beaten by being thrown into a volcano and then shot with multiple rocket launchers.
Yeah, it takes a volcano and 2 rocket launchers to the head to kill Wesker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he came back.
No, I would never, ever be surprised if he came back. It's like, no, you just shrugged it off. It's like, okay.
Likewise, I wouldn't have been surprised if after the rocket launcher missed, Chris Redfield jumped into the lava to get him. Right? Like, just like elbow dropped him into the lava. We're not talking about Chris today, we're talking about Leon Kennedy. Maybe his appearance here stays fairly consistent, unlike Chris, whose appearance changed between games to the point where, like, when he turns up in RE7, people didn't know it was Chris.
Yeah,
because his facial model changed so much.
I think it was maybe a trailer for, like, a screenshot of him in 8, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And then someone had to tell me it was Chris,
Yeah, like, his appearance changes so dramatically, some people didn't realise who it was supposed to be. Whereas Leon, his facial structure changes ever so slightly, but because he always has that haircut, you always know it's him.
Yeah, he's always got that constant, like, floppy 90s boy band haircut going.
And he's also always... Oh, I should have done that with my hair today, shouldn't I? I should have gone for, like, the curtains. Can I get myself, like, the Leon curtains? Like, they're not going to look as good as the Leon curtains, but I can give myself them, I suppose. It's long enough at the moment to do it. So, I guess, yeah, I'll try and give myself, like, the boy band cut. There we go. And the thing about, like, Leon is, he's always got that haircut, and he's always got the swaggiest fucking jacket known to man.
That RE4 jacket is still on my list of things I need to buy at some point.
It's an absolute crime that it gets stolen, right? And the fact that in, like, the original, like, PlayStation 2 and GameCube release... Oh, actually, did GameCube have separate ways? Or separate ways, like a PS2 exclusive?
No. Let me double check that while you talk, because I can't remember whether Assignment Ada or Separate Ways was the one that was added.
Yeah, I know, like, they added something extra with Ada for the PlayStation 2 version, but in Assignment Ada or Separate Ways, you encounter the Ganado that stole Leon's jacket, and that, like, Ganado looks fly as fuck. Because you know as well, when they stole that jacket, that Ganado's like, I look fresh. Like, I'm just stepping onto the farm looking fresh as fuck. Let's go.
Yeah, okay, so Separate Ways is the minigame that's released in every version of RE4 after the GameCube version. So I guess Assignment Ada must have been the one that was in the GameCube version.
Yes, and Assignment Ada is the one where you go to the island before Leon does. So I guess that won't be the one where you encounter the Ganado with the jacket. So it's the PS2 version, right?
Yes, that is true. Yep. Yeah, it's Assignment Ada, also known as Ada the Spy in some regions, is a non-canon minigame featured in Resident Evil 4 after completing the game.
Is it really not canon?
Apparently not.
It just shows her getting the last Plagas. I figured that... I don't know what about it isn't canon. Same as, like, Separate Ways, right? Sure. It seems weird that that's not, even though it's in the game. Because
maybe it kind of, like, maybe Separate Ways and Assignment Ada got in the way of one another, so they just decanonized Assignment Ada or something.
Fair enough. And I've always loved Ada's outfit in that separate one. Just wearing, like, the tactical outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it's one of the few times where Ada locks the fuck in and she can't wear a red dress. Like, well, sure, I normally wear the red dress when I'm fighting like Leon the super spy, but it was fucking zombies.
Maybe that's the non-canon part, is that Capcom just won't allow Ada to not be in the hottest outfit
She's
of all
not wearing
time.
high heels, so we can't have that, can we? So we move on now, Lucas, to personality. And what would you consider to be Leon's personality? Because like with Chris, it's his appearance that changes, whereas with Leon, it's his personality that changes. And it's understandable between the events of the second and the fourth game. Like, he's a rookie cop and he has like the worst first day ever. Of course, he's going to be just like, you know, completely different to how he was 6 years later after he's been dealing with that shit for years. But I don't like how he goes from like cocky and jokey in like RE4, like B-movie hero, to super serious and dour in the later games.
Perhaps you are disillusioned with overconfidence, just because you killed my small-time subordinate.
Sadler, you're small time.
Put your gun down, Chris. She's a key witness. We need her. A witness? She's the one who did all this! No, it wasn't her. It was Simmons, the National Security Advisor. I lost all my men because of her! And I lost over 70,000 people, including the president, because of Simmons.
Yeah, kind of. It's the one I've played by far the most, so I always consider RE4 Leon to be my Leon, but I guess, like, RE2, he's a bit of a blank slate, kind of more protagonist, just... Or he's not a silent protagonist, but he's not far off, where he just kind of makes some comments here and there of, like, oh, shit day, or like, oh, Ada's hot as fuck.
Yeah, he's a bit of a goober in like RE2,
Yeah.
and like I think RE4 for me and you, Lucas, we love that game. That is Leon to me. And I know he changes dramatically depending on what game you're playing. It's like, and then in those like Degeneration movies, he does maintain some elements of his humor, which I do like. Like he keeps his wry sense of humor and his like jokey attitude, but he's a lot more serious in those.
Leon, sorry I'm late. Had to take the stairs.
And then RE6 again, he's more serious. Like, I can't imagine RE6 Leon making jokes like 99 nights.
Yeah, or like butchering Spanish pronunciations, or like joking about Ashley having a big butt, which is still one of the funniest lines in the entire thing. Where it's like she lands like on the garbage pile, like, you know, where she belongs in that game, and just Leon's like, well, it's okay, she landed on your butt, and she's like, what are you doing, Leon? There's zombies everywhere.
Are you out of your mind?
I knew you'd be fine if you landed on your butt.
You... What is this?
Yeah, I guess, like, when you've been through the shit that Raccoon City was, you would kind of just... I guess you either go insane or you learn to deal with shit like that through humour, right?
Yeah, you either become Chris and just become an absolute fucking psychopath, or you become Leon.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, Chris is like the serious one, and that's what makes it so funny, because his story is so much more stupid. And I've always wanted like a theoretical like remake where you put Leon into RE5 and Chris into RE4.
Yeah, because, like, RE4 Leon, pretty much, apart from the giant Salazar statue, other than that chasing you down, most of the shit he goes through is, like, you know, sentient armor suits trying to hack him to pieces, like, basically xenomorphs chasing him down in the sewers, fighting giant, horrible monsters constantly, and it's like... It's hard to find the humour.
If you think about the shit that he fights in RE4 compared to the stuff Chris fights... With the exception of Wesker, because like Wesker got fucking superpowers. But every boss Leon fights, like the Verdugo, like you said, it's a fucking xenomorph from Alien that's completely bulletproof, and Leon just kills that shit with a gun on his own. Because that's the thing, Chris kills all the things that he kills with help.
Yeah, true.
And like
in
usually
RE5
with like
at least.
bullshit power weapon, right? He gets like the fucking orbital bombardment laser, like to fight like the giant like BOW like massive tentacles, or like the flamethrower to fight the Ouroboros. Whereas Leon just does that shit with a pistol, on his own, and a knife.
We've prepared a special ritual for you.
Out of all of them, though, you kind of have to give the biggest props to just fucking Jill Valentine. Taking down the Nemesis that's the size of a room with a fucking railgun on her own.
I will never forget when I watched you play through that remake. Because fun fact, Lucas is like one of the fastest people at playing RE2 in the world, right? Specifically.
Yeah,
Technically
I'm
on paper
getting
you
there
are.
with 3 and 4. I'm like... probably one of the fastest people in the world at beating RE 2, 3, and 4 combined.
Yeah, and like we're not joking. Like Lucas' speed run those. You're in like the top 100, right? Which is no. There's probably people out there. There is by definition people out there are faster. But when you say I'm in the top 100 of something, that means like 99% of the time when you say you are the fastest person at doing this thing, there's not many people who can argue that they're better than you. And when you showed me like, oh yeah, this is how you beat Nemesis in this game, and you put the fucking railgun in his mouth, and the railgun like destroys like what, an entire city block?
Near enough, yeah.
Good riddance.
And it's just, yeah, Jill Valentine doing that basically on a tiny bit of assistance by Carlos here and there.
And that's the thing, is like Jill Valentine's like a £110 lady. Is it Jill Valentine's first day in that game as well?
No, because
she's been in the BSA for a while, right, in that game.
Nemesis is literally coming after the old Stars members, right? That's the point, is that he's seeking revenge on them. And Jill's like, absolutely not. And then they ruined her in 5, and then we've never got her as a playable character again.
Even though she got like some of the coolest moves, like Mercenaries mode and stuff. We go back to Leon now. So, Leon first appears as a somewhat naive rookie police officer with a strong sense of justice and duty. Like, the zombie apocalypse happens on his first day, and he doesn't call in sick. Do you like those videos you see of like it's like the camera footage of like stores, and like someone just knocks over like an entire pallet of like stuff and just leaves. Right? It's like, I'm not fucking dealing with this. I quit. Like, Leon was well within his rights to walk in on his first day. And it's like, first job, police an entire town of zombies. Fuck this. And he still went to work.
Yet again, like, props to just the female cast members, because Claire rocks up just like, oh, well, you know, I'm Chris Redfield's sister.
To be fair, she's got some strong genes.
She does, but like, other than that, she has no real reason to be like dealing with the zombie population there. At least technically that's Leon's job.
Yeah. Like, who locks in harder?
I mean,
because there's a lot of like locking in like the Resident Evil series, right? Because there is like the great bit in one of those like CGI movies where it's Leon and Chris in a hallway, and they take out like 50 zombies each with just like one gun.
Yeah, true. And like the fact that, you know, you've got Leon who just goes through the laser hallway that kills everyone in that RE movie.
And it was such a cool moment. It's like one of the few things that like those live action Resident Evil movies actually did well, because they reference it in RE4. Right?
Well, that's what I meant, is like the person
the thing that
who
killed
in the
everyone. Yeah, sorry.
movie.
It killed everyone in the movie, but like Leon survives it, and like that's the only good part about that entire series. Like, there's 7 fucking movies in that franchise, and the best thing in it happens in the first half an hour of the first one. And it's the only thing that's ever been referenced in any of the games.
And most of the like things that I've seen clipped out as cool moments from the Resident Evil movies are just badly done versions of what's already in the game.
Yeah. So do you think as well, like, people who made like the Resident Evil movies, like, get like they're just them badly cribbing stuff from the game it's based on, get annoyed when they see like The Last of Us? Because like The Last of Us trailer for season 2 dropped recently, and I'm just watching it and going, this is just the game, but worse.
But we don't know what's going to be added, because obviously there's that extra, was it Bill episode?
Yeah.
In season 1, and that was like, oh, holy shit, they did something original that wasn't in the game that just knocks it out of the park and is brilliant.
That Bill episode really feels like that was just a writer who had that story in them and like just figured out a way to jury rig it into the Last of Us storyline, because that really feels like a storyline that would not sell on its own. Because whoever wrote that episode had that story in them.
Yeah,
it's a fucking fantastic story. It feels retrofitted into the Last of Us universe. 'Cause it's so... Like, for a show that slavishly recreates everything from the original show, down to like visuals and like I think even to the point when like the trailer for like season 2, like you've got Pedro Pascal wearing the same outfit as Joel, and it's like, really, to the point where he's wearing the same fucking t-shirt. Like, you don't want to differentiate in any way. Like, what's the point in watching this then? Where they randomly say, oh, but in one episode we're going to tell a completely different story that was never hinted at or alluded to in the games, and in fact completely goes against everything you learn in the games.
I wouldn't necessarily say it goes against everything that you learn. It could suggest like why Bill is such a knobhead in The Last of Us, right?
Well, the story's different because, I guess, spoilers, the ending to how Bill and Frank end their story in the show is far different to how it ends in the games.
Okay, I mean, I guess just like spoiler warning, but yeah, like is it different? Because you don't really like, you only see you only see Bill in the game, right?
Yeah, but you find out that in the games that Frank has left and hung himself, or hanged himself. Sorry to use that as a common mistake.
I guess that's a detail that I just forgot about. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think they changed that. And it's like, wow, that's a really good addition to this story. You're going to do like, no, we're just going to recreate scenes from the game. And I bet like the people who made Resident Evil are really mad of like, well, we did that, and we got shit on for not being original.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think the Resident Evil movies are selling themselves as like action movies, not horror movies, and like cribbing bits that they want from the story, then but not other parts, and making OCs. And whereas Last of Us is just, hey, this is a good story. Do you not like video games? Here's a different way to experience
so, yeah.
it.
There's a distinction there, but I remember like, just before we started recording, I saw that trailer pop up and went, oh, let's have a look. And I went, this is just the game. Like, what am I getting from this as someone who's played the game? Besides being like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like, well, I recognise that.
It is great in the sense that, like, hey, my dad asked me about The Last of Us when the TV show came out because he doesn't play video games, but he'd heard that game was really good.
You know what? I can see the value in that. It's like it's for a different audience, and that audience clearly doesn't include me because I already know what the story is. Which I just found it strange that they deviated so hard for the Bill episode. And that's why I say it feels like a story that someone else wrote that they retrofitted into the show because they couldn't get a gay love story made on such a high budget. Like, they couldn't get HBO money for a story that is essentially just a gay love story.
Unless they put it in something with the name of The Last of Us, right?
And well done them. But
fantastic episode, and we're not knocking it for that.
No, that's what I mean. Like, whoever wrote that they did a way better job. Because that's like one of the most interesting things in the entire Last of Us universe, including the games. Yeah. And it's something that's completely original to that series. But we move back to Resident Evil, and speaking of getting it on, Leon has been shown to have a flirty side with some of the women he encounters.
Sure. But full disclosure, I have a young man waiting for me.
So,
it's classified. For now.
Including Ingrid Hunnigan, who playfully rejected his advances due to him still being on duty.
Hunnigan, is that you?
Finally, the line's jack free.
Hey, Hunnigan, no glasses.
Forget the glasses. What's the status of the mission?
However, and I don't think they've worded this in a... Like, I don't think they realise how this is worded. Leon, however, does have standards and gently rejects Ashley Graham's advances. And I think they mean work standards of, hey, he's at work... He's not going to form a relationship with the person he's protecting, his principal, because he is like a bodyguard for Ashley. But the way that's worded makes it sound like he doesn't... He's like, well, I've got are you seeing how perfect Leon Kennedy is?
You know, I could put in a word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested.
You don't need me. You proved you could handle yourself.
And that is the thing. Is like it's weirdly worded, but I guess also standards in the sense that like
professional standards,
and also just like Ashley's of at least questionable age.
She's 18.
Leon.
Like, she's in university in the thing, but like
it's like
kidnapped from university.
Right. Okay. So she's like barely legal, and Leon's at least like mid-20s. Yeah. If not older.
Like, he's aged like 400 years just to all the shit he's had to deal with. Like, stress alone makes him like physically about 96.
That's the thing, because I imagine that it's 6 years since he's been a rookie cop. I can't imagine he's like older than his 30s, but still.
He was born in like 1977. We could probably, I'll double check how old Leon is during the events of like RE4, and I'll put it on screen right now. And I bet you what, like, it's probably still not going to be as weird an age gap as, like, you know, whoever's going to get to play Leon in the inevitable reboot or TV show based on this series.
Maybe, yeah, because, like, there is a big push towards getting, like, you know, maybe, like, more middle-aged actors as people that you might think would be, like, a little bit younger. And, yeah, it's just one of those weird things where I'd imagine, like, you need to have a relative up-and-coming actor to play Leon.
Well, you need someone who can do like 40 backflips, right? If they ever made like if they made another Resident Evil TV show, because there was that shitty Resident Evil TV show like Welcome to Raccoon City.
For fans, Leon's an action hero, but we really wanted to go back to the original second game, where he's quite a nerdy, reluctant hero.
Guys.
It was really important to cast the actor that could bring Leon Kennedy to life.
And I'll never understand, that's why I said like The Last of Us springs to mind of. The Last of Us getting all these accolades and awards for just retelling the stories of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like verbatim with the same visuals, and even including some of the same actors. And like using some of the same like, you know, production like techniques and like camera angles and all that shit. And then like every time they make a Resident Evil project, they try and tell a new story. It's like, but the game's right there. Because I imagine, like, the people working on those aren't, like, the most creative people because they're just working on a fucking video game adaptation. Why do they put a weirdly large amount of effort into adapting a worse version of a story that's already written for them?
Yeah, and you could have so much fun leaning into the campy side of Resident Evil and making, like, fun, weird horror movies out of those, rather than it being, like, as you say, half cribbed from the games, half OC shit that's badly put together and made into action movies. Like,
Capcom didn't hide the fact that the games were inspired directly by George Romero's films.
At that time, there was nothing more I wanted than a live-action Resident Evil movie.
Hey, George is making Resident Evil.
And then suddenly, the plug was pulled on this.
And if we did get like a high-budget Resident Evil movie, I'm just like, you know, it'd be like, and starring Leon Kennedy is like Chris Pratt or Ryan Reynolds. It's like, no.
Oh, yeah, it would not be an actor who's capable of doing the crazy bullshit that Leon does. And speaking of the crazy bullshit that Leon does, we have the section on his abilities here. So, in Resident Evil 2, Leon is a trained police officer whose skills helped him survive the Raccoon City outbreak. And I'd argue, like, whatever training he had clearly wasn't the reason he survived, because none of the other fucking police officers survived. Clearly Leon is just built fucking different. That much is clear.
The shit that he goes through goes beyond just basic police academy training and fitness regime, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
There is something about Leon that is special, and that's why he's handpicked by the United States government to undergo training as a special secret agent. So his abilities were further enhanced by the time of Resident Evil 4. And his most notable ability is his extremely skilled use of firearms, which can include a variety of weaponry. And do you have a favourite gun that Leon uses? Because his signature weapon is like his Silver Ghost. That's his like his custom made pistol that's catered to his exact tastes and specifications. But is there a favourite weapon of Leon's that he uses throughout the games? Because for me, it's like the Red 9. I love how, in my head, like, Leon does use the Red 9 because it's Lewis's gun. And I imagine that after Lewis passed on, he gave him his gun.
The Red 9 is great, especially just the sound design on that weapon. I do love some of the goofier stuff that you can use, like the upgraded mine thrower in the original game.
I want to know who the
Just
fuck
home
the
in.
merchant is to be building that bollocks. Because it's like suggests that the merchant built that himself. Because he talks about how it's a
Right.
custom-made weapon, which means the merchant made that.
Mm-hmm.
And the merchant never comes back. And I guess like we've talked about merchant, like, you know, we did the Mr. Kennedy. Can you give me a merchant line, Lucas? Because the fact they didn't bring that voice actor back for RE4 Remake is a fucking crime.
Who is also, I believe, Leon's voice actor from RE4, right? Yeah.
So the original voice actor for Leon in RE4 did all the voice lines for the merchant.
Got a selection of good things on sale, stranger.
Like, it would have been a nice nod to the original, of like, the original Leon is still voicing a character in this game.
It would have been great, because I just love hearing, what are you buying?
What? It's just, what are you buying? He's such a good, like,
what are you buying?
Where you buy, like, the broken butterflies, like, stranger, now that's a weapon. Or something to that effect, right? When you buy, like, a really fancy gun.
Stranger, now that's a weapon.
I love that he comments on the fact of, like, oh, Leon's got an eye for quality.
They did give him a new great selection of lines in the remake. I'm just so upset that it wasn't
It's
the
not
same
the
voice
original
actor.
guy, right? Because you're just never going to top, what are you buying? It's so good. Right, but
What are you selling?
Speaking of guns, his other ability is a master marksman. So he's extremely skilled with firearms, ranging from handguns, shotguns, submachine guns, flamethrowers, grenade launchers, sniper rifles, rocket launchers, etc., etc. He is capable of making headshots from over 50 yards, rarely missing his intended targets, as well as showing proficiency with fully automatic weaponry.
And I think Resident Evil is maybe one of the greatest franchises of all for giving you the power weapons for doing the bullshit completion stuff, like getting the hand cannon and getting the I think it was like the PS2 version that added, like, I think it's the PRL, the
PLR, Plagas.
Plagas lit.
No, PRL, you got it right, yeah, the Plagas removal laser.
And it just, you charge it up and you just shoot it and it wipes out like 6 different Lascanados in one go. It's like, oh god.
Some enemies don't even need a full charge to kill. The simple tap is more than enough to take them out.
My favourite thing about the hand cannon is the way it works is like not clearly defined by the game, because the hand cannon is the single most powerful weapon in the entire game, save for like the Plagas removal laser. And the detail that you can only check by going to the top of like the lakefront where Del Lago lives and shooting into the water from very far away is that the hand cannon technically fires 5 bullets at once, because apparently they couldn't figure out how to break the damage threshold on it per bullet. So just in the development phase, they just made the hand cannon fire 5 bullets that are all really close together and give them all max damage.
It's kind of similar to how in like a lot of JRPGs, the multi-hitting moves are the ones that do the most damage, because like if you hit 9999, then there's no point doing a single hit attack. You've got to do the, you know, Omni Slash that hits 9999 over and over.
So technically the hand cannon fires like 5 bullets at once, so it can break the damage limit, and that's why it just like fucking murks everything instantly, because it's effectively firing 5 magnum rounds at once.
But you have to earn that shit.
You have to earn that. So I think like the hand cannon is like, what, 5 stars in every mercenaries level?
Yes,
which you
it
do
is,
fucking earn in the original RE4. Like 5 stars on every mercenaries level with every character is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like, they don't mess around in that game. And like, you know, his arsenal includes the Matilda, the Silver Ghost, the Lightning Hawk, the Red 9, the Punisher, the Broken Butterfly, the TMP, the TRRP Operator, the Remington M1100, the Striker, Shotgun, the Sniper Rifle, the M203 Grenade Launcher, and anti-tank weaponry.
And out of the ones mentioned there, I think the favourite's just the Striker for the upgrade of, oh, do you want 100 shotgun rounds loaded at once?
The one issue I have with RE4 is that the moment you realise the Striker is the best shotgun. Now, for the most part, they do a good job of balancing the weapons so it can, like, you know, be tailored to your personal taste. Like, the original like handgun that you get is not as powerful as the Blacktail, for example, but its exclusive upgrade gives it like the 5 times headshot chance. So if you're good at headshots, it's the best weapon. Like, the Punisher, like, shooting through enemies, is just really good for crowd control situations. If you just, like, you don't like going for headshots, you like just going for body shots to, like, put the enemy down. The Blacktail has the best handling, and you run fastest with it, has the most ammo. The Matilda is just like, you know, it's basically a submachine gun. But the shotguns, just the Striker's the best one. It does the most damage, it takes up the least space in your inventory, it carries 100 rounds, or shells, I suppose it would be in a shotgun. So there's never any reason to not pick the Striker.
I mean, that's talking about specifically the shotguns only, but I also have to give my final shout-out weapon-wise to the Chicago typewriter, specifically when you wear the fucking pimp-ass outfit.
And he just does,
you
like,
do
instead of reloading it, he just adjusts his hat. Which
and
is
then
great,
if you
right?
do it like 3 times on the bounce, he throws it into the air and does a cool like catch of the hat.
Just does a little flourish, doesn't he? But here's the thing, Lucas, about Leon. Even when he's out of ammo, he's not out of options because he'll always have a knife. And he's one of like the most proficient like hand-to-hand and knife combatants in the entire RE series, save for maybe Krauser. Like, Krauser might be the only person who could equal him, and Krauser has fucking superpowers.
And Krauser turns half his body into a giant knife.
Yeah, like, Krauser is literally 50% knife when Leon fights him, and Leon wins. Built different.
I still remember when I did, like, a challenge run of RE4 using a knife only to beat the entire game, and I didn't realise, after 20 years of playing the game nearly,
this is the
that
Krauser
it's
attack.
actually... Yeah, to use a knife on Krauser, it kills him quicker.
Yeah, so people don't know, in the original RE4, the knife against most enemies does consistent base damage. For some reason, well, it's not for some reason, it's because, you know, the game alludes to the fact that Krauser is a knife combatant. If you challenge Krauser with just a knife, it does like 5,000 damage per swing. It does more damage per swing than a Magnum round. So you can kill, like, Krauser even on the hardest difficulty by just going, huh, 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 and that's it. Done.
And then you've got RE4 Remake where they had the parry, and Leon's like, no, I'm going to parry chainsaws with a knife.
Yeah, like, the shit he does with a knife in that game is, like, Dante-esque. Like, Dante would be proud of some of the shit that Leon's doing. Like, when Leon parries a chainsaw with a knife, that is akin to what Dante does in, like, Devil May Cry 3, when Dante parries a scythe with, like, while spinning a gun at the same time.
Right.
Like, I reckon, like, Leon could probably do that with enough practice.
Obviously, there's the Marvel vs. Capcom games, but even then, Leon's not been put in them, has he?
No, he's not, and he's like one of the characters that people have been requesting. Like,
Yeah,
when they
'cause I
made
was
like
about to say-
Marvel Infinite, it's like, why the fuck did you put Chris and like Nemesis back in when you could have put in Jack Baker and Leon Kennedy?
Yeah, I was about to say that, of course, we've got Leon and Dante together in that game, but we don't. And
Nope.
Leon and Dante would make... There's got to be a lot of fan edits out there of them two kicking ass together.
Yeah, there's also as well like the there's loads of mods for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 where they fucking put Leon into the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they give him like such a cool moveset. And of course, what do you think his back throw is, Lucas? It's the suplex. Why would it not?
Oh, of course.
Why would it not be the suplex?
Of course it is. Yeah, I'm more like Remake coded in my brain nowadays, where he doesn't like have the suplex anymore.
Which is weird, right? Like, one of the most iconic things he does in that original game is suplexing like the cultists so hard their heads explode. It's the hypest shit.
And I love the fact that you just unlock that ability. It doesn't tell you in the game, but just the moment you reach the castle, Leon's like, right, time to break out the suplexes.
Well, also by that point he's warmed up, right?
Yeah.
He's stretched. He's stretched a little bit. And he's like, okay, time to lock in. Suplex, like, welcome to Suplex City.
It's like, oh, they've got Ashley get time to just stop messing around.
I just like, in my head, it's because he fucking hates religion. Because he like only uses that move against like the religious cultists.
Yeah.
Like the villagers, it's like, you know, I'll put them down quick, I'll put them down easy, but now I've got a fucking style on these Los Illuminados motherfuckers.
Yeah, the Ganados, they probably were infected. They don't really know what they're doing. They're just being brain controlled, right? It's not their fault, but these cultists...
They made a choice. And the choice they made is to be suplexed so hard their heads explode. And speaking of being suplexed so hard their heads explode, his other abilities include peak human strength. So he is strong enough to crush a zombie's head with his foot, and in Resident Evil 2 Remake was able to overpower and wound the mutated William Birkin in his massive G5 form. In Degeneration, he is strong enough to support the weight of Angela and her massively mutated brother with one arm while dangling from a beam. In Resident Evil 6, he could hold open the jaws of a mutated shark.
Fucking hell.
Which is not easy, because even like sharks have like one of the strongest bite forces of any creature, and it's a zombie one as well.
Yeah.
So it's like big and ginormous. He also mentions that he is able to stagger a mutated Arias with an axe kick to the head. And that's the thing about Leon, right? Like, Leon's all about kicks, whereas Chris is all about punches.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, if they teamed up, they'd be fucking unstoppable. Like, you hit him high, I'll hit him low.
It would be truly just the Bruce Lee Jackie Chan combo of the RE universe.
Like, what chance would someone stand if, like, Chris went for that body blow and Leon went for that head kick at the same time? They'd be snapped in half, right?
When they get kicked back, just Jill comes in with like the Hurricanrana afterwards.
Yeah, and then Barry headbutts them. Like, Barry slaps the nut on them afterwards. And that's the thing. Do you know, like, you have those like combo attacks in RE5?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine, like, in Avengers, at the end of Avengers, like, every Avenger gets like one hit on the big bad?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, you know, like rub the salt in the wound. Can you imagine if like all of like the protagonists of Resident Evil just jumped Wesker at the same time? Would he have a chance if like Chris and Leon and Barry and Claire and like Sherry Birkin all just came in and whomped his fucking ass?
Because wasn't that one of the CG movies that they did that where it's like, hey, it's Party Island, every fucking protagonist is here. They just did a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
And that's that.
And he also, like, you know, I just think that, like, the fact that Chris can, like, hurt Wesker with one of his punches and a missile can't. I mean, I imagine if just Leon came in there with that, like, you know, just kick him in the head.
And then Josh comes in with the rugby tackle.
The suplex. Josh can do a suplex, remember? But, you know, speaking of, like, and the final thing to mention, Lucas, is peak human durability. Because he's not just tough. He's really hard. Like, the thing about Leon is he's real hard to put down. So Leon is tough enough to endure getting shot in the shoulder and leaving untreated for the entirety of the Raccoon City incident without any effect to his ability. In Resident Evil 2 Remake, he could recover from being smashed through scaffolding by the mutated Birkin in his G1 form. In Damnation, he's also durable enough to survive being punched by a super tyrant and thrown into a stone pillar, which almost collapses due to the force.
And bear in mind, in RE4, he gets infected almost instantly, is struggling to cope with that as his body deteriorates, then gets, like the laser removal done on him, as his body's, like, falling apart near enough, and he manages to go through everything in RE4 within the space of, like, 2 days.
One of the implications of Resident Evil 4 that's, like, terrifying if you think about what would have happened, is that like, Los Illuminados plan that if Leon somehow succeeds, he'll go back to the United States and just be a sleeper agent for us.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine Resident Evil 4 Leon in the fucking White House when his programming kicks in? Do you like in, like, X-Men 2, where, like, Nightcrawler just, like, whomps the Secret Service's ass in, like, 5 seconds? That'd be Leon, right? Imagine if, like, his programming kicked in when he's, like, giving, like, you know, he's taking Ashley back to the president.
Just God. Yeah. That would be unstoppable. They'd literally have no chance. And it kind of baffles me the fact they don't just infect them both and let them go.
Yeah, like just
here's the daughter, go back to America.
Like, Los Illuminados are pretty stupid because, like, they would have won if they let Leon think he'd rescued Ashley. Like, put, like, you know, some token resistance. Let him escape. He's already infected. he's like the strongest super soldier in all of like the United States like Secret Service, he's going to get the president. Like, there's no one's going to be able to stop him from getting to the president.
Ashley's also infected too, right?
Yeah. We're not saying, like, that's why it's a B movie, right? Because in a B movie, the villain has a stupid plot that could have been solved in 5 minutes if they weren't an idiot.
Well, it's the exact theory of Indiana Jones, right, with Raiders, of like, surely the exact same plot would have happened if Indy was never there. They just would have melted themselves anyway.
Yeah. Like, if anything, like, Indiana Jones, prolongs World War II. Because if he'd just let them get the Ark of the Covenant, they'd have just taken it to Hitler. You know what, that's a story for another day. And if anyone has any suggestions for things we could cover in the future, whether they be Indiana Jones or other characters in the Resident Evil franchise, do let us know in the comments section below, or the Discord you can also find linked below. And before we end on Lucas, is there a Leon moment you'd like me to put a clip in of?
I think you've just got to put the laser hallway in, right?
Not just put it in again.
Put it in again, or just show Ada doing it as well in the remake.
Yeah. Like, isn't there like something as well? Like, didn't they make a really brutal death scene for that? Right? Because I didn't want Ada to die when I played it, but isn't there like... Didn't they put the Easter egg in? Like, she has like the Colin Salmon death.
I don't think I let her die either.
I didn't want Ada to die either because I really like the character, so I didn't want it to happen. But I imagine that they must have done, right?
They must have done,
I don't want to put the clip in, but presumably if anyone out there wants to see a lady get sliced in half by lasers, there's your Google search.
God.
That's the thing, that's why I'm not putting the clip in, because I don't want that on my Google search history. I don't want to type in Asian lady versus lasers.
Also, just kind of don't want to get this video demonetized, right?
Yeah, it was like, I'd rather put in more badass action of Leon suplexing people's heads off. That's the thing, I'll put that in, because that's a zombie who gives a fuck. And yes, I know they're not zombies, they're Ganados, but like, just, if it's Resident Evil, they're fucking zombies.
Yeah, like...
Even though Leon says they're not zombies. Like, we know they're not zombies, but just, I'm so used to saying the word zombies after anything to do with Resident Evil.
Yeah, the last Plagas, the Ouroboros, like, it's all the same stuff. It all ostensibly makes zombies that aren't zombies.
Yeah. It's like, even though Leon says it's not a zombie, it's like, yeah, it's like a zombie. It's an enemy for me to shoot that, like, dies in a cool way.
The shame, Karl. The shame.
So, Lucas, we are here at the end of a Wiki Weekends video, and we're supposed to be giving a shout-out to members of our Patreon right now, but we've got a confession to make, haven't we?
Yeah, shout-out to Karl for doing the entire shout-out without recording any of it.
Because I spilled this cup of tea onto my keyboard. Here's the clip of it happening without proper audio, because when I spilled the tea onto my keyboard, it pressed stop on the recording.
And Karl, just as a special thank you, we always like to end our Wiki Weekends videos with a shout out to the people on our shout out tier on our lovely Patreon.
I just spilled my tea.
Okay.
No, it's fine. Let's go.
Okay. Karl spilled his
more
tea.
Important than my keyboard, which is now going over here.
We've been paid money to ignore Karl spilling tea. It's okay.
I guess I know what I'm using some of the Patreon money for this month.
Oh, so, you know, we're going to do the round of shout-outs all again to make sure that it's all in nice audio quality.
Yes, because we do want to shout out the people supporting us on Patreon in the highest quality we are able to, even though it was very funny when I spilled the tea.
It was. But Karl, who is the first person we've got to shout out?
Well, that is, of course, B of Awesome, and these names are in no particular order, unless you consider alphabetical order to be an order, in which case they're totally in order, and B of Awesome, like, you know, is at the front of the queue. If anyone out there would like to subscribe to our Patreon as a name that starts with an A, if Aaron A. Aronson's out there.
I was going to make the joke. I was about to make the joke, just the Aaron A. Aronson coming in, but yes.
You did good, kid.
Ta.
What's your name?
B of Awesome.
Sorry?
If Aaron A. Aronson is out there and wants to subscribe and wants to go ahead of B of Awesome, you're more than welcome to. But for now, B of Awesome is the front of the pack. But they're trailed closely behind by Who Lucas.
Well, I hope that we're getting the name right this time, because we, you know, do this monthly, but the person pointed out mid-month that we've been getting their name incorrect. It's not, in fact, Dan Daly. I believe it's Dan Dilly. And I hope we're getting that right, and if anyone else has a problem with the pronunciation of the name, let us know. We're just here to show appreciation for the people on the highest tier on Patreon, and hopefully Dandilly is the right way to say it, and we really appreciate the fact that you're putting up with us mispronouncing your name. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We can only apologise, and I will say that Dandilly is much more fun to say, because it does mean that I can say Dandilly, Dally, Shilly, Shally.
Yes?
Oh.
Oakley.
Dandilly.
Oakley Doakley.
Yes, and the next person we'd like to give a shout out to is simply Judge Dredd. And I'd like to think that's the actual Judge Dredd who's just like, you know what? I'm sick of just shooting criminals and riding around on the Lawmaster in Mega City 1. Let's go just watch some Wiki Weekends. So thank you to Judge Dredd.
DNA is a perfect match for
Judge Dredd.
It's a lie! The evidence has been falsified! It's impossible! I never broke the law! I am the law!
So I guess shout outs to Judge Dredd, as you say, you are the law, but you're also a legend.
I like to think of, the amount of times you hear people being like, well, I'm a truck driver and I listen to podcasts all day while I'm driving. Just Judge Dredd on their bike going through Mega City 1 with the Wiki Weekdays podcast just playing in the corner.
If it was me riding through Mega City 1 on a cool motorcycle, I'd be listening to Synthwave, but this Judge Dredd likes to listen to our podcast and our video, so well done you.
Clearly a person of taste, Karl. And the last person of taste that we've got to shout out today is Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka. And I just always have to shout them out of just, you've been here for a good time, not a long time, but I inspire everybody else. We do appreciate everyone for just watching, not necessarily financially supporting, but if anyone thinks they can come in with a more baller name than Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka, I implore you.
As we said last time, if anybody out there wants to test the limits of how long a name on Patreon can be, give it a go. Because so far, Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka is the longest name we have to shout out. And also, that name is up here forever now. Last time we did one of these recordings and shout outs at the end, just the entire time I was making a cup of tea after the fact, doing the edit, it's just Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka, like a spell to ward off evil or witches or something.
Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka, Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka, Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka. Well, and hopefully to ward off the evil that is this channel going away anytime soon, which we're not planning on, but just, hyperbole
Where are
and
you
all
going
that.
with this?
Yeah, I just say, support us on Patreon or watch the videos till the end like you're doing currently. Share, subscribe, all that good jazz, and thank you for watching.
That's the thing. Anyone who's watching this conversation right now has watched to the very end of the video, and for that we can only say thank you.
Of course, yes. Thank you very much. Have a lovely
Have a nice day.